So one important thing is practice. So I can't say practice now. Of course, there's a lot of practice they would have done till date. But what I believe is civil service success is all about what you do when you're not studying. There's nothing like failure because I learned something out of a failure. And there's nothing like competition. If I feel I'm competing, before I get the result, I'm defeated. Okay, so it's a very important understanding what the students can also follow. Only when you sit with the fear, you can handle the fear. So you can't say like you can avoid the fear. Nobody can avoid fear. You have to feel it and then understand why the fear is coming. So when I say discipline and consistency, the next 20 days, I have to do these things. And I will be doing these things. And whatever may be the result, I will accept it.
Hello aspirants and welcome to our special discussion on prelims examination of 2024. With prelims approaching next month, in this video we will be discussing about last moment tips and strategies to be followed for an effective preparation. Today we have with us Mr. Sudhir sir, our economics faculty, who will be sharing with us these tips and strategies. A very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you, Paritosh.
So with prelims approaching in the next few days, students must be coming to you with challenges being faced by them in the last few days of examination. What exactly are the challenges faced by students?
I think in the last leg of preparation, most of the students face 3 to 4 major challenges. The first one is they start thinking whatever they have done till now, is it sufficient or not? So that would be the first problem for them. Second is about self-doubt and confidence. So self-confidence generally will be low at this point of time for most of the students. And third is like what should be the major methodology of preparation in the last 25 days. So these three are the main things. Like, so for self-doubt, probably they should understand that it is the same for everybody. So whoever is fighting this battle, it would be the same kind of pressure because you're handling the whole syllabus in last 20-25 days. So, and one more important thing is the fear of failure. So everybody starts thinking like, most of the students start thinking that, what if I fail? And the mind starts creating new stories. So the story can be something like, if I fail, what will happen? Or what my parents will think, or what the society will think. And this will create a lot of trouble in their minds, and because of which they'll not be able to focus on what they have to do right now. So I think that is one most important area where they have to focus on.
So with the experience of again helping and guiding students in successfully clearing this examination, what would be the strategies to be adopted to overcome these challenges?
So one important thing is practice. So I can't say practice now. Of course, there's a lot of practice they would have done till date. But what I believe is civil service success is all about what you do when you're not studying. Okay, so what you do when you're not studying is something like, what are you doing? Are you are you into a panic mode, or are you overthinking, or are you cribbing like I've not done enough and I may not clear? And what kind of suggestions are you giving to your mind? So when I'm not studying exactly. So I think the best way to avoid it would be focus on solving questions and get engaged with the exam and get engaged with the process itself. So I have to be so sincere with my process right now so that these negative thoughts don't hit me on a regular basis, because last 25 days will decide my success. Last 20-25 days, because everybody would have put in effort, everybody would have read content, and maybe there are students who are writing it for the 4th time, 5th time. That means content is not an issue. So how do I manage myself in these 25 days would be the major aspect.
So it is also told that revision should be done, again, not just revision, but revision multiple times. How effectively a student should revise in the last few days to cover entire syllabus maybe in the revision process?
I think there are two ways of revising things. The first one is I revise whatever notes I have made till date, and I will not read anything new in the last 25 days. I should understand that suppose there are students who believe that last 12 months magazines I can grab it right away. I don't think that's a right strategy. So whatever I've read till now, I have to first revise it. That is the most important thing. And the second most important aspect I think the student should understand is revising through questions is the best way to remember facts as well as to understand the nuances of the examiner. So we have multiple test papers of Vision IAS that are available. So I believe we can divide our test series into 3 different parts. So one is the Abhyas, where you can get the real feel of the exam. Second one is we have Sandhan, where you have the personalized test series, where you can fix your own subjects to be revised, topics to be revised. Third is we have our PT 365. And when we scan our PT 365, there are around 250 questions we get, which is purely current affairs. So those students who don't have time to revise the whole material, probably they can at least solve these current affairs questions and the current affairs questions of the mock test. So this is an easy way to revise current affairs. And one more important interesting fact is our success in this exam is more dependent on the static part rather than the current. So we often think like, oh, current affairs I've not read, so what is going to happen? I'll not take the exam. No, that's not the case, because current affairs is an ocean. So what we have to understand is we have to revise the static part, solve more questions, and along with that, current affairs, if I've not done till now, if I've done it, it's okay. If I've not done it, then the best way could be PT, PT 365. PT also I don't have time, then solve the questions of PT by scanning the QR code and solve all our current affairs questions which are given in our mock tests. So that would be a better strategy which they can follow right now. And one more important thing is, I think we can solve around 10 to 15,000 questions also in the last 30 days. So where we can take up 2 mock tests every day. So suppose we have Vision IAS has 30 tests, full length tests, and we also have sectional tests. So 30 tests if I can take up in the next 15 to 20 days, how do I do that? One day I can plan for taking the tests and evaluating the tests. And then the next day I will be revising the content which I have prepared till date. So I will not be bored also, and I will have a change in my preparation. So alternatively, I will change it with solving questions as well as revising content. So that would be the very appropriate strategy for most of the students who are revising right now.
Sir, as you talked about current affairs, a student again at this moment of time maybe go for multiple sources, maybe going for new sources, and again a lot of confusion whether we should be reading newspapers or again we should be revising the content which you have already covered. What would be the strategy for this particular?
So I think there is no point in going for new content as of now, and mugging up facts will not help in this exam. That is a known fact. But reading newspaper, I will not read newspaper for the sake of exam, but I will look into the newspaper 15 minutes or 20 minutes to just align with things. So that cannot be denied, that can be done. And that's not for the purpose of getting questions from the paper. So there's a lot of difference here. I will not read newspaper that the question comes up now, but I'll casually see the newspaper as we do regularly. There are two things here. One is you feel that you are in touch with the current affair. Second is there can be some kind of a revision pattern that happens. So many a times there can be questions where only looking into the paper you can mark the answer. I'll just give you a small example from the economics domain. So there was one question on monetary policy last year. So it says across the globe there was something like monetary tightening, and there was a reasoning part that was given which says the monetary authorities believe that yes, monetary policies can reduce inflation. So if you're looking at the newspaper or the pictures, you know that every country there was something like they have increased the interest rates, etc. So there's nothing like I will prepare for that question. Just by observation, I will mark. So what I believe is when we have a stress-free mind, probably our observation skills will be at its peak. So last year there was one more question called beta. So beta doesn't mean like, oh, it's a stock market question, it's a very difficult question. But there were a lot of people even students started taking, enrolling into putting their money into the stock markets. So when I open something, there is this beta that is visible. So I just need to know it is related to what. Again, student, what he does is he starts preparing every other term in the stock market, which is not required. So probably observation, what I say. So that observation can continue, read 10 to 15 minutes of newspaper on a casual note and then go through your regular preparation. That need not be stopped. That's what I believe.
Sir, as you also talked about again attempting mock tests and again a time strategy to attempt these tests, how exactly a student should analyze these tests? Maybe what wrong they are doing, and again how to overcome the challenges faced in the mock test. So what should be a strategy for this particular thing?
See, most important aspect here is one is digging deep into previous questions. So it is analysis. When I come to analysis, I don't just do the previous questions. I rather even analyze the previous questions, including each word in the previous question. It's very important. For example, I can give you one small example from the previous papers, there was one question which says, which of the following is not part of FDI, foreign direct investment? And there were some options given like foreign currency convertible bonds, and there were another option like FI with certain conditions and GDRs. So what the aspirant has to do is, I have to dig deep into each option. What is GDR? That means from the options of UPSC question papers, there will be questions framed by UPSC. This is a very strong belief, and there's a proof, a clear gut proof that yes, if I solve the options, understand the options, it will help me to solve the questions in the. And the same thing applies to mock papers. I think we have to spend more time on analyzing the mock paper. So if I'm solving 2 mock papers every day, so the mock papers take me 6 hours, another 6 to 6.5 hours would be for the analysis of the mock paper. So it was, and I also suggest students to make a note of things which they have not understood. And don't take these mock papers to break your confidence. I'm using mock papers only to know what I don't know. It's okay if you don't count your score also. You're solving mock paper, get a hold of the content which I don't know, and I move forward. But I need not count and say, oh, my score is less, I may not, because we can't change anything. So as Dhoni was saying many a times, like there are only 2 factors. One is controllable and uncontrollable factors. I'm only worrying about the controllable factors which I can control. And there are many uncontrollable factors which may affect my performance, and I'm least bothered about it. I can do what is in my hand. So that probably our students can also use it in their mock paper analysis. So don't tally it and take it to your heart and get depressed, oh, mock papers. There are many students who got less marks in mock, but they were in the final list. There are many who would have topped mock tests, but so it can happen. So it's all about gaining more knowledge and covering the gaps. Mocks help us to cover the gaps. So I think that should be the best strategy.
So apart from these academic issues which we discussed, at psychological level also, students also goes through stress and anxiety in this particular last few days of examination. How exactly to tackle stress and anxiety?
Very interesting question, Paritosh. So I feel what Jiddu Krishnamurti was saying. See, competition itself, if I feel competition itself is a defeat before I go and wage my war. So there's no point in competing. So this stress is coming because I feel I'm competing with somebody. There is nothing like competition and there's nothing like failure. If students can really analyze this, there's nothing like failure because I learned something out of a failure. And there's nothing like competition. If I feel I'm competing, before I get the result, I'm defeated. Okay, so it's a very important understanding what the students can also follow. So stress management, it is easy to say, but it is very difficult to follow. When as long as I'm competing, as long as I feel like, no, I have to do better than somebody, there is this fear. It is better that students understand that I'm playing a game. In a T20, what do? We play a game. So now I'm solving a question paper. I'm only interested in this question paper when I'm taking the mock. And this is a game given to me. Success or failure, I'm playing a game. So I think probably this kind of attitude should be developed over a period of time. And that is where you can engross yourself into the preparation mode rather than thinking about the outcome. So the question paper I'm solving, whatever is the result, I'm learning from it. That is the enrichment for this day. I'm only concerned with the short-term target of the day. And on the D day, I'll go like every other day and I will perform. And whatever may be the result, I will take it because I'm not competing with anybody. So I think this is what they should understand, I think. And this is a very long process to understand this, but I think they can feel it. Everybody can sit and understand why there is a fear in my mind. And then probably they can handle it. Only when you sit with the fear, you can handle the fear. So you can't say like you can avoid the fear. Nobody can avoid fear. You have to feel it and then understand why the fear is coming. It is coming because of the thoughts which are created by your mind. And then you engross yourself in the preparation, probably this fear can be handled. I think that's the only way out to handle fear.
Very effectively covered. So again, sir, any last moment motivational message for our students?
I believe that there is nothing like a motivation for this exam as of now. It is all about discipline. So when I say discipline and consistency, the next 20 days, I have to do these things. And I will be doing these things. And whatever may be the result, I will accept it. And first of all, I'm not competing with anybody. I'm not even competing with myself. There's something like I'm competing. I'm learning. I'm learning every day. I'm solving it. But at the same time, I know my schedule, what I have to do. I'll stick to my discipline. And I will take care on few things. One is, I think, what you eat before exams. In the last 20 days, probably, we all know that we should keep our food simple and things like that. But students often get tempted. I think next 20 days, probably keep things simple and so that the mind works sharper. And second is, don't talk to anybody who's putting in negative thoughts in your mind. Negative thoughts can be something like, I didn't clear, you will also not clear. Or maybe there are veterans who are already there. Probably the reasons for failure may be hundreds of things. But I don't want that burden on my head right now. It's not required for me as of now. So why it's not required is because the rules of the game are different for everybody. Okay, so keep things simple. Don't interact with somebody who's putting your confidence down. Because confidence is the most important, I think, thing that will push you in. So that confidence will give me 2 additional questions in the exam hall, that 5 additional questions in the exam hall. So it's more about confidence than reading or grabbing more content at this point of time. So that is the most important thing. And some students were asking, sir, when I go and sit in the crowd, my hands start trembling and I feel a kind of a psychosis. And one of my very close students from our Vision IAS only was interacting with me regarding this aspect. So for you, I think on 26th, there is Abhyas. The only way I can handle it is I sit with the crowd. There's no exception. I have to sit with the crowd and I have to take it in the real life situation. So there is one opportunity, Abhyas is there. So 26, I suggest such kind of students to go and sit and feel the exam. And that's very important, because just because of that psychosis, if I'm losing the game, it's not correct. Okay, so go and take the test, practice it in the live situation. So that is one more important suggestion to the students.
Thank you, sir, for joining us again and guiding our students very comprehensively.
Thank you, Bharitesh.
Now, students, please use these tips and strategies shared by sir in your ongoing preparation strategy. Lastly, a very good luck, stay positive, believe in yourself, and a very good luck for your upcoming prelims examination. Thank you.